Good morning, everyone. Today we will continue our lecture on finite element method. If we recapitulate what we did in the last class, basically we evaluated the residue equation through integration by parts and then applying the boundary conditions, and we got equation 11. And equation 11, these terms which are identified as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, we will remember for our future reference, because we have to evaluate all these integrals individually. Now, again, also recapitulate that how did we define temperature at three vertices of the triangle Ti, Tj, Tk. This is basically given by equation 16, and also you may recall that T is given by equation 12, which is x, y, I multiplied by ABC, the column vector. Now this column vector from equation 16, we can easily see that this is basically inverse of a matrix xi, yi 1, xj, yj 1, xk, yk 1. This matrix, inverse of a matrix, multiplied by Tijk column matrix. So if we combine this, then we can say that T is defined as Ni, Nj, Nk, which is basically a row matrix multiplied by Ti, Tj, Tk column matrix. Ni, Nj, Nk, this row matrix multiplied by Ti, Tj, Tk, this column matrix, and this is given by equation 17. And this is the definition of the temperature, and we have to now find out Ni, Nj, Nk. And as we can see, Ni, Nj, Nk is basically xy1 multiplied by inverse of this matrix. So inverse of matrix A. Now very clearly we can define xi, yi 1 first row, xj, yj 1 second row, xk, yk 1 third row. And inverse is, as usual, given by adjoint of the matrix divided by determinant of the matrix. And adjoint of matrix A can be written as transpose of the matrix formed by the cofactors of the elements of A. So here, if we want to find out transpose of this matrix, we have to divide adjoint by determinant of A. And adjoint of A is basically transpose of the cofactors. So if we identify, for example, xi as the first element of the matrix A11, then this one yi as A12 and 1 as A13. Second row A21, A22, A23. Third row A31, A32 and A33. So here when we write the first row in the adjoint matrix, that will be cofactor of xi. First row will be cofactor of xi, then cofactor of xj and cofactor of xk. So we have exactly written that. Second row will be, we'll find cofactor of these and then transpose them. So basically second row will be cofactor of yi, cofactor of yj and cofactor of yk. And third row we have written though cofactor of 1, cofactor of 1 and cofactor of 1, but these one the cofactors of these numbers at these locations, the cofactors are not same. Basically this one represents A13. So this term will be equivalent to cofactor of A13. This term will be cofactor of A23 and this term will be cofactor of A33. So we will find out the cofactors, and as we know, cofactor is having a specific sign, and sign is determined by -1 to the power I plus j. I is counted for the row number and j is counted for the column number for identifying A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, etc. So from there we determine the sign, and this is minor. So we'll calculate minor, and basically then we will sort of assign the sign and write the cofactor. So if we go back to the previous slide, cofactor of x1, this will be basically its sign will be -1 to the power we have said I plus j, that means 2, so it will be positive, and minor of xi is yj minus yk. So we will see yj minus yk, and minor will have no sign change because the first element will have positive. Similarly, we will find the second term in the first row, third term in the first row, and all the cofactors of the first row, all the cofactors of the second row, and all the cofactors of all the value of the cofactors at the third row. Value of the cofactors at the third row we find out, and then we also determine the determinant of this matrix, and determinant of this matrix is xi into yj minus yk plus xj into yk minus yi plus xk into yi minus yj. Straightforward determinant. Then area of the triangle can also be determined. It is we can basically recapitulate our mathematics a little bit, and it happens so that area of the triangle is basically, you will see what we will get is half of the determinant. Value is the value of the determinant by 2. So we have found out all this, and then we find out Ni, Nj, Nk, which is xy1, which is a row matrix, only single row, multiplied by this matrix which has been formed through getting the transpose of the cofactors of the matrix and divided by the determinant. Then obviously, Ni will be the term will be found out if we multiply this row versus the first column by the determinant. Nj second column into this row matrix, and we'll get this divided by determinant. So equation 19. So basically that Ni, Nj, Nk, these three terms we can find out from this relationship xy1 multiplied by this matrix divided by the determinant. Individual terms of Ni, Nj and Nk we have found out. So if we recall in our what we sort of studied in our first lecture on finite elements, that this Ni, Nj, Nk, these are having unique properties, that the point where it is defined, it will have value of 1, and other points it will have 0. So this Ni, now at point I, if we substitute x by xi, y by yi, you will see exactly this will be 1. But at j and k point, this will be 0. Similarly, Nj will be 1 at point j, but other points it will be 0. Nk will be 1 at the coordinate xk, yk, that means at the point k, but at other points, j and I points, it will be 0. So this is exactly the way the shape functions or the basis functions have to behave. We get that behavior here. Now we can say, as we mentioned earlier, that the temperature for the element is defined by summation of j equal to 1 to 3. This j, as you can see, is now any variable. We could have written NITI or NKTK. Only thing, we had to write then I equal to 1 to 3 or k equal to 1 to 3. We have written NJ Tj, j equal to 1 to 3, which means it will be N1 T1 plus N2 T2 plus N3 T3. And now, instead of defining these points, because slowly we are progressing towards writing the algorithm, so these points can be written as 1, 2, 3, and the whole domain now we can conceptualize as discretized domain with many elements, all are triangular elements, and each element has a number, and each element has 3 nodes, 1, 2, 3, and all these 3 nodes, 1, 2, 3, are having shape functions or basis function as n1, n2, n3. So we are, whatever we wrote for Ni, Nj, Nk, simply I is substituted by 1, j is substituted by 2, and k is substituted by 3, and expressions also basically xi yi will be substituted by x1 y1, xj yj will be substituted by x2 y2, and xk yk will be substituted by x3 y3, and we get equation 21, 22, 23. We have done this because later you will see that we have to also identify each element and their node numbers and connect it with the global node number. See, in finite difference or finite volume, you have seen if we are basically the points are expressed as ijk or ij. So all the variables are defined by the subscripted array ij or ijk. But in finite element, the points are not defined that way. When we compute, the points have the global node number. So maybe in a domain you have maybe 30 triangles, and you have maybe 50 points or 60 points. Now these points globally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will go up to the will cover all the points in the domain by such count, and these points automatically, you can understand, will correspond to a point of in an element. So any global point will also be point of 2 or 3 elements, common point. So a point has identification in the domain. A point has identification. Unique identification is global node number. Otherwise, it will have local node number depending on the element and which node of the element is basically that point. So this will do, as we have written, that the correspondence between local and global node numbers are usually stored in the form of arrays, and this is called elemental connectivity, and we will discuss this in one of the subsequent lectures. So as we can see, for example, here any element E has 1, 2, 3. Say for example this element we are talking about. If this is 1, 2, 3, these 3 points, but this point has a global nomenclature. Global nomenclature means that if we start defining 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, so maybe this point globally maybe 10, the way data structure is arranged, but locally maybe it is element number 8 and node number 1. So maybe this is element number 9, it's node number 2, and it is globally maybe node number 10. So this relationship we have to later on, it's a little difficult bookkeeping, but through data structure we have to manage that. So now we are focused on individual element, any given element, and there we have to now find out this integration, which was the first term of equation 11, that is area integral of k del ni del x dot del nj del x plus del ni del y into del nj del y. This is integrated over the element. That means node 1, 2, 3, and this Tj corresponds to, obviously Tj will also vary 1, 2, 3, T1, T2, T3. So this becomes finally uh, 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 some array which is basically multiplication of a matrix. This is a 3 by 3 matrix, and a column matrix. That means this will have basically T1, T2, T3 as a column. So 3 rows but single column, T1, T2, T3. So where I equal to as we where what we have explained, I equal to 1, 2, 3, j equal to 1, 2, 3 for the element. Thus the conduction contribution of an element will be basically a matrix which we can say conduction matrix at the moment. So it is Ke multiplied by a column vector which is T1, T2, T3. Now substituting N1, N2, N3, one can obtain all the entries of this 3 by 3 matrix. So first we have to take I equal to 1, vary j equal to 1, 2, 3. Then I equal to 2, j equal to 1, 2, 3. I equal to 3, j equal to 1, 2, 3. And we'll be able to get basically all the elements of this matrix. So by taking I equal to 1, j equal to 1, 2, 3 and substituting for ni and j in this equation, we know what is ni, what is nj. Here it will be n1, n2, n3, and so first we keep I as 1 and vary j as 1, 2, 3, I as 1, j as 1, 2, 3, and we take we after substituting that and integrating, we will get this row which is basically y2 minus y3 square x3 minus x2 square into T1. Similarly, in expression into T2, another expression involving x and y into T3. Now, if we so we have reorganized that, we can clearly see it's basically T1 we have together with its coefficients, T2 together with its coefficients, and T3. Now I equal to 2 and j equal to 1, 2, 3. If we again evaluate, we will get finally some T1 with its coefficients, T2 with its coefficients, and T3 with its coefficients. Basically equation 26. And in the same way, I equal to 3 and j equal to 1, 2, 3 will give us equation 27. So now if we reorganize 25, 26 and 27, we can write in this way. So K multiplied by area of the triangle divided by 4 multiplied by area of the triangle means area of the element, triangular element square, and these are the different terms of the matrix equivalent to, you can say, A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. So these are all 9 terms of the matrix into T1, T2, T3. So we get the complete evaluation of the first term of equation 11. So final expression of term 1 of equation 11, as we said, we can write it in this way. And here if you recall that we wanted to describe this as K elemental matrix into T column matrix. So this K elemental matrix now comes in this form. K by 4 into area of the triangle, and these are the different terms in the matrix. So, and obviously we know what are the meanings of this quantities like x32 or y23. We have written it also here. x12 is x1 minus x2, y12 is y1 minus y2, and so on. And area of the element is given by AE. And so this is the KE matrix 3 by 3 multiplied by the column vector T1, T2, T3 is basically the final outcome of the integration of the first term of equation 1. Now we'll go for the fifth term. If you are not confused, from here again we'll go back to the equation of interest, that means equation 11. So please settle down here, but we'll refer to equation 11 without any ambiguity. So this was equation 11 which we are evaluating, and first term has been already evaluated, we have shown. Second, third, fourth term we'll evaluate little later, but evaluating fifth term is very easy. That is why we are taking it up today. So we will now go for evaluation of the fifth term, which is over the element Ni Q dx dy, where I will vary from 1 to 3. That means if we take N1, it is we can recapitulate the expression x into y3 minus y2 plus x2 into y minus y3 plus x3 into y2 minus y, and this is basically the value of the determinant. So of the matrix A, if you recall. So now N1 is this, and when we are integrating, that means this is basically twice the elemental area going out of the integration, and we can rearrange the integration this way, and then we can perform the integration and we get a value Q. This is again little involved algebraic steps performing integration, substituting the values and rearranging the values. But if we do that systematically, we'll get Q divided by 2 into 3, and this is nothing but again area of the triangular element, and Q is basically volumetric heat generation rate. and if we go for n equal to 2 and n equal to 3, so then we will, for each term, for each uh, I equal to 1, that means n1, n2, n3. For like I equal to 1, we have got q a by 3. Similarly, I equal to 2, also we will get qa by 3. I equal to 3, also we will get qa by 3. So if we put them together, this elemental integration will be q into a, one third, one third, one third, and this is an array also, basically column matrix. That means we'll have 3 rows but a single column, column vector, and A is the area of the element, and GE is the elemental generation vector, or here we can say it is heat generation vector. So this is elemental heat generation or elemental generation vector, that is equation 30. So with equation 30, then we have evaluated the fifth term of this integral, and first term of this integral also we have evaluated, which is this k into again t1, t2, t3, the column vector. So these two integrations are over. We will perform remaining integrals and then talk about the strategy of assembling them for an element. Then also it has to represent the complete domain. So we have to then establish basically the elemental connectivity, global and local node number connectivity, etc. So evaluation of remaining terms of the integral and setting up the final matrix form that is to be evaluated to find out the temperatures in the entire domain, we will take up in the next class. We stop here today. Thank you very much. Thank you.